date to history in the past is photojournalist and former chief official White House photographer Pete Souza. He covered the presidencies of Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama, and his work is now on display in the documentary called The Way I See It by Focus Features and MSNBC Films. And Pete joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
An honor to have you on. Let's dig in here. You're certainly no stranger to tense situations. In fact, one of your most notable photos was taken in the Situation Room. People may remember seeing this one in 2011 during the bin Laden raid. What went through your mind then when you saw the attack on the Capitol Hill last week and the events leading up to the impeachment play out?
Well, it's hard to watch. I think as any American, it was hard to watch that take place. In some ways, it wasn't that surprising. I hate to say it, because over the course of weeks and months, the president has been inciting this kind of behavior. But it was really distressing to watch. I mean, this is a place, the Capitol, that when I was a photographer for the Chicago Tribune in D.C., I would go to the Capitol literally every week. So to see a place that I visited quite often be overrun like that was hard to watch.
Pete, you've covered a number of inaugurations, President George H.W. Bush's inauguration, President Obama's, the passing of the torch to President Trump. What's it like to look through that lens and capture history on that day? And how do you think next week's inauguration, how's that going to be different?
Well, I think next week's inauguration will be unlike any other, just because of the circumstances. You're not going to have the crowd on the Mall. So it's going to be quite different. I actually covered I've covered 7 inaugurations, but 3 of them as an insider watching the actual transfer of power from one president to another. And that part of it's missing too, since the current president is not even going to show up to the inauguration. So it's going to be just a completely different atmosphere.
Well, Pete, in your documentary, The Way I See It, you explain that a lot of your favorite photos are those that actually humanize the president. Why is it important for folks to see pictures like those?
Well, to quote Michelle Obama, the presidency doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you are. And I think the same thing is true of the authentic moments that I captured during the Reagan and Obama presidency. I think you get a real sense of the humanity of the man, what kind of a person he is, the empathy and compassion. I think you can see that in the photographs that I've captured. And I think for history, it's important. All my pictures end up at the National Archives, every single one of them. And 50 years from now, 500 years from now, if we're still a democracy, people will be able to get a sense of what not only the presidency was like, but what they were like as human beings.
And Pete, you've photographed President-elect Biden over the years covering the Obama White House. Have you had any conversations with President-elect Biden about possibly resuming your role as White House photographer?
I will not be resuming my role. That job takes a lot out of you. I just cannot put that kind of a strain on my family again. I will say that I did hear from, he wasn't yet the president-elect. I heard from him just before the election. After Mom had died, he called me to offer his condolences. But the person that Joe Biden has chosen as his photographer will do a great job. It hasn't been announced publicly, although I know who that is. And so I'm confident that the person that will be in my successor in some ways will do a great job.
Well, I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you want to announce it on Third Hour today.
I can't do that.
Pete, what's the one piece of advice you would have for that person?
Well, I did talk to him the other day. I mean, part of my advice was remember what your mission is. Your mission is you're documenting for history. Don't lose sight of that. It's the most important aspect of that job.
Have the right kind of attitude.
And what did you call him in his first name? I didn't catch that.
Pete, he's not cracking.
Sorry, Pete. I just
Pete,
had to give it a shot.
Pete Souza, thank you for your time this morning. The Way I See It is co-presented by Focus Features and MSNBC Films, a division of NBC News Studios. It will be re-airing on MSNBC tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's also available for anyone to watch on Peacock.
I caught it the first time it came.
Yeah.
It's worth watching. It's worth the watch.
Really
Great
is.
pictures.